'Cause I'm addicted to the good life. Yeah. Lead the way. I follow. No need to say. Where we are heading now, babe. I follow. To the edge of it all. To the edge of it all. So tell your good lies. 'Cause I'll find no better one. Yeah. Susceptible now. Before the moment flies. Ooh. So tell your good lies. 'Cause I'll find a better one. Ooh. Susceptible now. Before the moment flies. It's not a problem.
No.
'Cause I know what I'm getting into.
He's trying to be like Kevin Samuels.
Nothing can stop me.
That's what he's trying to do. Oh boy.
Realize
Come on.
the way I follow. No need to say where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all. So tell your good lies. 'Cause I'll find a better one. Yeah. Susceptible now. Before the moment flies. Before it flies. So tell your good lies. 'Cause I'll find a better one. Susceptible now. Before the moment flies.
Bop, bobbledy bobbledy bop. We are back. We are back. What's going on, man? Let's check out these cameras. Make sure we're looking good, smelling great. Camera 1, camera 2. That's fantastic. This is gonna be the nice little one. This is the one where I'll have all the TikTok videos go to and little captions. Very exciting time. What's going on? What's going on, man? I hope that everybody is doing well. Looking good, feeling good, smelling great. I'm doing fantastic. Just had Dutch Bros. Shout out to the Deuce. She came and brought me some Dutchies. I love that. Don't even know what the order is. I have no idea. I don't. I have no clue. I could order when we go. But what's going on, y'all? I hope that everybody's doing well. Welcome. This is the actual first stream. Okay, so beforehand we were doing a lot of test runs, making sure that we got it right. But I think that we've done the job. We're looking great. Let's go ahead and check to make sure that our online is doing just fine. I hope you guys are liking the cameras and all that great stuff. You know, be excited and on the lookout for next week. I've got some guests coming, and it's going to be a little interesting, okay? So this studio, shout out to iStudios, by the way, here at Cal State University San Marcos for offering the podcast space. This is fantastic. They've taken a lot of effort and time into building this space, and I plan on using it every single week. On Tuesdays, I'm thinking 12:30 is a good time. Even if people can't jump on the stream live, the intent is for all of you to be able to watch it later on at your earliest convenience, whatever have you. So I think that this is going to go very, very well. You know, I'm 30 now, y'all, okay? June 16, 1993. And for about the better half of the last 10 years, I've always had my friends and family come to me with some relationship problem. It's been going on like that for years. And, you know, Danny, I'm having this kind of issue, things like that. I love talking to people about their relationships because interpersonal relationships in particular are so significant to me because we need people. Life's about people. There's no getting out of that. Okay, guys, life's about people. You can't evade that. And so I love talking to folks about how to mend the relationships, what styles and techniques. Now I have the opportunity to study it. And I think that there is nothing more important than being well versed and well articulated in your subject matter. So I don't want people to think that this is the kind of stream where I'm just going to come on here and do a bunch of BS. This is what I study. This is what I do. I'm going to, provide some textbook material for you guys, give some real world examples, those kind of things. And there's something in particular that I was just having a conversation about recently. And it was saying, communication is key in relationships, right? If you don't have good communication in your relationship will fail. Communication is key. I think that's bullshit. Now, it's not because communication isn't key. In fact, a lot of times relationships fail because communication, and in some regard, that people did not properly articulate their expectations of one another. But what I think is more significant than the level of communication is knowing who you are. It is often that I'll wake up in the morning. I'm being honest with y'all. It'll be often that I wake up in the morning and I'll jump on Insta, Tick, Face, X. You know what I'm saying? I'll jump on the socials. First thing I'm doing, and my algorithm is full of superhero stuff. I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and also gentlemen in suits. I love men's lifestyle content. And the occasional baddie, but I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But it's a lot of men's lifestyle content, right? And so the first thing I do is like, man, I really want that suit, that kind of thing. You start jumping these comparisons. That's just the kind of stuff that I like. But I'm thinking about all the other young men or people my age, you know what I'm saying, that consume a lot of content and want to aspire to be like this person, the Andrew Tates of the world, or the I don't really keep up too much with them, but the Logan Pauls and those kind of people. And I think that it's wonderful that they have a platform to be examples to young men, but I think some of the problem is that everybody wants to be like this one person, but then nobody's like themselves anymore. So I like to start with, before you can worry about your communication with somebody else, you got to know you first. Now, I'm a well-read gentleman. I really enjoy reading academic text, as I am in pursuit of my communications degree in my undergraduate. And so I really enjoy providing y'all with some references. So this textbook is fantastic. I love it. It's called Close Encounters, 6th edition, Guerrero et al. This was actually shown to me by Dr. Lori Bertachik. Shout out to Dr. Bertachik. I love her. She is fantastic and taught in interpersonal communications class. This is the book that I love. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't suggest this book enough. So make sure that if you're looking for something that's actually going to hold weight, that has some different resources, this is the book that I would say to use. Also, fun fact, I can't see for nothing. So when I start reading some of this stuff, don't judge me, okay? All right, everybody's gonna make fun of Danny now, okay? I'm about to get it all over the everything because I already know y'all are about to clown me. But I wanted to first make sure that we're talking about identity here, right? And I came up with this Bennett model of probability, okay? Hasn't been published anywhere. Y'all give me some time. Let me get my doctorate, and hopefully this is something that I could apply to research. But there is the Bennett model of probability. And ultimately, the idea is that you have to start with you. Everybody's trying to jump to let me get in the Bugatti, Top G, all that stupid crap. And I think it's lit. That's great for some folks. I think it's fantastic, but not everybody wants that, right? So what do you like? What do you want? I think those things are more important than, I need to model myself exactly this way, right? I have a best friend. His name is Charles. And this guy's so great. And he earns quite a bit. Shout out to Charles. Does a lot and has been working in telecommunications for, I want to say, about 14 years now. And He's got the resources to do all of the stuff that everybody's looking at online, right? The thing that these guys may be looking at with these influencers that say, I just need to be like that and I'll finally get the girlfriend that I want. Or I need to be like that and I'll finally be as popular as I need to be, those kind of things. But one thing about Charles is that Charles likes watching anime. He's a musician. He likes watching anime. He watches some sports, but for the most part, superhero films, right? Charles, I remember when we were younger, he wanted a Mini Cooper real bad. In fact, we went over to CarMax. We went with his dad, and we were at CarMax because Charles really wanted a Mini Cooper. Charles has the resources to get the luxury this, and this. But that's not what he likes, right? Charles is a quirky dude. And so I say all of that to say I bring my best friend up because I want to acknowledge that just because you have it doesn't mean you have to do these things to, to identify it with others. Who cares about the others? Charles, one thing about him is that he doesn't care. It doesn't matter how much money that he's making. He does what he wants to do because that's him. And that's the idea here. So I like to start first by defining identity, okay? So take a look at that right there. Look at that. Look at that quality, man. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put the text right on the screen for you, and I'm gonna read it somewhere else because I'm blind and I can't see. But we define identity as the person we think we are and communicate to others. This is the important part. Identity management occurs when we try to influence other people's images of ourselves. Have you ever, and I'm gonna be honest with you, this is probably more for the ladies. Have you ever dealt with somebody that looked like they did all this stuff and they were lying? The only reason why I'm laughing is because that's been me. I'm not gonna sit here in front. It's definitely been Danny. I've got some really horrible stories. But have you ever met somebody like that who's pretending to be something that they're not? Right? Nothing's more frustrating. Image is important. As a image and communication consultant, my job is to work on the image portion, which is appearance, behavior, communication, digital footprint, and then provide strategies to assist in your interpersonal communication, whether that be networking, romance, friendships, or family, right? That's my job. And when we talk about image, how somebody appears, how someone behaves is a tall tale sign. In fact, this same textbook articulates that we have about 27 seconds to make an assumption about somebody. 27 seconds. Other books like Body Language by James Borg articulate 20 seconds. Just imagine that for a second. You got 20 seconds to make an impression on somebody. That's it. Right? 20 seconds. And in that, we don't just make, an assumption about somebody. We assume whether we're going to communicate with them or not. Is this my type of person or not? Right? Based upon how we socially identify or how we identify in general. And so I think it's really important to acknowledge that we have to remember that your identity, who you are, it is imperative to stay true to who you are, because you can have, and that doesn't discredit, I just want to make sure I'm clear. It's not discrediting, go work hard, right? Earn your money, all that good stuff, okay? But you don't have to be like this person to get the outcomes that you want. In fact, that model of probability that I was describing earlier talks about why you should start with you. And in fact, we'll do that next week. I'll go over it with you guys next week. Why you have to do you first. Do you first. I am a fan of movies. I like movies and musical theater. I did theater all through high school. I love superheroes. It's tattooed all over me. If y'all can't tell on this side, this is Kryptonian all the way down my arm. Venom's over here. Spider-Man's on the wrist. I'm a big superhero guy, right? And I like the gym. Okay, those are the three things that I can. And music. I love music. I play piano, guitar, drums. Like to sing. Those kind of things. So that's who I am. Why would I go to play golf Now, it may be cool, learn something new. I'm not saying don't learn new things, but what I'm saying is, why would I try to act like I'm a big golfer and I'm not? That's not even what I like. When I go to this bar that's across the way from the campus here that I attend, and every time I go in there, all the guys are talking about whatever the sporting event's on, right? Hey, this is the baseball event. I think it's baseball, football, college football right now, and those things. I don't keep up with it. I don't, and I don't even pretend. I do not pretend, not even kind of. I'm not a big sports guy, right? Doesn't mean I won't play with you. I know how to play. I understand the general rules, those kind of things, but I don't watch sports. Why would I act like or put myself in environments where this is something that doesn't interest me? That's not who I am. Otherwise, I'm just going to be faking like I do something that I don't do. Why would I do that, right? The idea is identity, knowing who you are. And the portion of identity that I think matters the most is how people view us, okay? So let me put this on screen for you guys. Take a look at some of this top tier here. You guys see that? Look at that. Top tier production. Oh boy, okay? So what I want to bring up here in this segment just for a second is I want to discuss the section where it says relational identity, okay? The way we see ourselves in relation to others, including how we believe other people view us, and the joint identities we share with others. Okay, so this is big. This is important. This is important. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. You want people to view you just the way you are. Because if you present yourself in a way that doesn't really demonstrate who you are, right? Your characteristics and things like that, you end up being fake to somebody. And remember that 27 seconds I talked about earlier, that 20 to 27 seconds? Somebody made a host of assumptions about you and decided I can rock with this person. I mean, it happens that fast. It's really crazy. I made all these assumptions about who this person is based on what they drive, do, etc., all of that. And then come to find out, that's not who they are at all. It's not. What I'm not saying, by the way, is that you shouldn't conduct yourself in, depending on your situation here. So what I mean by that is maybe in the corporate office, you have to be a little more poised versus hanging out at the bar with your boys versus you by yourself. So I'm not saying that your behavior shouldn't change. What I am saying, though, is understanding who you are, your identity, and then placing yourself in environments that are conducive of you having a positive experience. It's very simple theoretical probability. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. I swear it's not, right? How do I get the best outcome out of my romantic relationships or friendships? How do I make sure that I put myself in places where I can have a better outcome of those things, right? And the best way to be able to do that is to find the things that you're interested in and then go do them. Because otherwise, you end up trying to be interested in something else you don't really care about. I'm a guy that loves suits, right? Let me tell you, I'm the baddest in the room. Hey, you looking like Danny. Ooh, that little tooth don't stop nothing, including a straw. You know what I'm saying? But I love wearing suits. I love it. I love to get dressed. I love smelling good. I love putting on fresh fragrances. It's my thing. I love it. And so I'll wear my suits and go out to eat somewhere, or I love going to church because I can wear my suit, right? Things of that nature, work, etc. That may not be your thing. Now, the occasion may call for it, so know how to do it and be prepared for it, but that may not be your thing. I may take somebody that doesn't feel comfortable. There are tons of people that don't feel comfortable in suits. There's something that I like about it, but I'm starting to understand that it doesn't take away from your masculinity. It doesn't take away from your image, right? But it modifies what you do and do not like. Ultimately, if you end up doing things that other people are doing on the Instagram, the Facebook, all that stuff, you're doing yourself a disservice. Here's what I want y'all to do. Man, I'm giving y'all homework. Here's what I want y'all to do. And seriously, I want you to take me seriously here. What I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to write down just 3 things that you love. Your hobbies, interests, whatever. Just 3. Just give me 3, right? Movies, Marvel, gym. 3 things. I don't care. Just write down 3 things. Then I want you to write down right next to it, where do I socialize? Because if you don't socialize in places where you carry interest, you're probably doing yourself a disservice. You see what I mean? Why would I want that? And then the other half of that is, when you do start to meet people, and we'll get to this next week, when you do start to meet people, if you understand what your interests are, it gets so much more exciting to bring somebody into your space because you're confident here. Yes? This is nothing. Let me give you an example. Have you ever been somewhere to order food at a Mexican restaurant? Just use that as an example. And your server, whatever their gender is, only speaks Spanish. And you don't, but you're with somebody that does. Well, you just kind of say what you want, and then they help articulate what it is that you're trying to eat or order, right? Same thing. The same way that somebody can thrive in a language, right? Because this is easy for them. This is second nature. This is what they love. It's who they are. It got a lot easier to communicate. It's the exact same thing. When you find these are what my interests are, it gets a lot easier to be comfortable in that space. Hey, you know what? I want to take you on a date to this musical that's coming out. Okay, that's cool. She may never tried going to a musical. He or she or they may have never gone to a musical before, but because it's an area that I enjoy, I was comfortable. That means I'm more confident in this space. And that's what somebody wants to see. Friends, romance, or otherwise, right? Same thing, you know what? I'm a big superhero fan. Oh, I don't really watch superhero movies. Yeah, look, just come with me and let me show you something. And take her, him, or however they identify, to a Comic-Con, to a comic book shop, to a, whatever have you. Ultimately, what I'm saying is knowing who you are, knowing what you're interested in. That's why I said just write down 3 things. Just write down 3 things. Knowing what you're interested in. And then after writing that down, writing down where you're socializing and see if they match. If they don't, you should probably start doing things that match with the things you're actually interested in. This does not mean exclusively do them. And that's what happens. People get caught up in a bubble, only staying in certain social spaces. Here on this campus, right? This is a great example. On the campus of Cal State University San Marcos, the school I attend here in my 4th year, there are what's called student life centers. And the student life centers are where students not only go to get some work done and be productive, but they also go to socialize, and they also, the purpose of the centers is to enact some social mobility here on the campus, right? And students will go there in between classes. They do it all the time, right? Hey, I'm going down to this center because I'm in between classes. I don't feel like going to class. I'm having lunch. It's the end of the day. I don't feel like heading home yet. Those kind of things, right? And they stay in those places. If you sent a student that frequents one center and send them up to a different one, they'd be uncomfortable almost immediately because it's not a place that they frequent. This is the place that I'm interested in, and because I don't go anywhere else, it almost makes me uneasy visiting other places. And then the other half of that is when they do go, and even if they do feel confident and comfortable, it's uncomfortable for other people that frequent that space. Why are you here? What are you doing, right? This is not the space in which you socialize in often. And a lot of these spaces on this campus are culturally significant, right? So, yeah, you are not a part of this cultural group. It's very odd that you're here. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong with it. There's no shaming happening or rude behavior, but it's almost just a shock, right? It's a culture shock because you're in a place where you're not normally. It's the exact same thing when you don't take time to try new things. When you stick to this bubble, when I told you to write down those 3 interests, right? Write down just 3 things that you're interested in. You wrote them down, and then the places where you socialize, and you got those. And you don't try new things. You're not willing to try new things. It's uncomfortable for you and the group. Right? Let's say that you're not a fan of theater. Maybe not a fan, but maybe that you have not gone to theater, right? You haven't tried it yet. And so when you go to the theater, there's certain etiquette, right? You can't have your phone out, in theater performances. Really needs to be turned off. Shout out to theater rules. But there's certain etiquette that you have, the break in the lobby between intermissions, if they're serving alcohol, when to complete those things. You can't eat and drink inside of a theater production versus the movies, right? But then there's also time to socialize, look at playbills and other upcoming performances. Then after the performance is done, meeting with the cast, things like that. It's a whole different world that you're stepping into if you've never done it before. And so you try it and you rate it 1 through 10. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. But you give it a try, and then you say, okay, I put in the effort to try something new. I did or did not like it, and I move on. You never want to stick so close to what you're interested in and where you socialize that you don't get a chance to explore new things because you might end up liking something, right? You never know. So ultimately, what I want to make sure that you guys get out today is to understand that your identity, who you are, plays a huge impact in how you socialize and how other people see you, how you engage with the world, right? This is more than just your race, your gender identity, sexual orientation, religious beliefs, but these all play a part in who you are. As a image, right, consultant, when I look at somebody's appearance, it's the first thing I do. And you just make a bunch of assumptions. When you look at those folks that let's say that they are a part of alternative lifestyles or they're goth people or something like that. I don't know what the proper name for the group is, so I'm not trying to be offensive. But the reason why I'm saying that is because you could associate the group with the appearance. You look like you belong to this group. And if you ask, 8 and 10, they probably do, right? Unless they're doing their own version of a social experiment. So who you are, what you do is important just as much as the appearance is to what you do. So if you're interested in suits, like I am, things like that, I'm likely to see you in dress attire more often than not. Why? Because that's what you're into. And so because who you are and what you're into will typically display. Remember, your identity is something that it's not just your perception of who you are, it's how you're trying to communicate it to other people. You see what I'm saying? Not just who you are, but how you try to communicate it to other people. Well, look, this has been cool. I want to do a short stream. This is very short. Next week, going to grab some folks. Going to be an interesting conversation. And then I'm going to make sure everything is set so that way we can have folks call in. And that's going to be so much fun. I'm just so excited to. Oh boy, this is gonna be a lot of fun here. But I appreciate you guys stopping in. For those of you that were able to stop in live, I see that we have some folks jump in. Thanks so much for hopping into the stream. I really appreciate it. The recap will be available immediately. You'll have content that's up. Don't worry, by the way, I'm gonna have everything change to Captured by Kareem. So you guys will see everything Captured by Kareem on all platforms. That's X, Instagram. I think it's on Snapchat already, all that stuff. Yeah, it'll all be one thing, so you guys can get updates. We're going to do this every week on Tuesday, 12:30 to 1. Knock it out. Next week, we'll have some guests. Remember, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, just hit me up. Bang my line, as it were. That's great. Hit me up. Let me know if you guys would like to be on the show. It's not a problem at all. I'd be more than happy to have you, either virtually or not. Makes no difference to me. Very, very grateful. Very, very grateful. This will be fun. We're going to have a good time. We should do this again. But y'all know the deal, man. Until then, peace. We are gone.